hear me?
I sure can.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, there's no excuse. We got a man
Are you
who was
gonna
in.
you unpaused it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so
I did. Yeah, I have a call recorder on this end that you can't
oh,
see.
okay. You
that,
you about your business. I see.
oh, yeah, look, we got to do it right.
That's right.
And
That's
you know
right.
what's interesting? Um, I've been on television 2 or 3 times, and right after the pandemic and all of this came in so handy
Mm-hmm.
because
Because
while
you're already set up.
everybody was dialing in on Skype looking all sorts of ways, right? And I
Sounding
remember,
crazy, right?
yeah, a NBC affiliate called me, and that's where I actually cut my teeth in journalism. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, they dialed in, and their audio was shabby. And I was like, I think y'all have some feedback. I'm going to need you to fix that. Like, I had them calling their engineers and getting it right. And it
Mm-hmm.
looked amazing on television. I was like, you know what? Who knew what almost 3 years ago when I built this house? Well, it was 4 years ago when I built the house, and I put this home office here. And then what? 2 years later, I started building the home studio for the podcast.
Right.
That I would be broadcasting nationwide in many situations globally with this podcast,
Right.
and just doing my thing right here.
Right at home. Right at home. It has changed. Well, the thing I could say about the COVID-19 pandemic, it has changed the way people look at your work schedule and
Yeah.
how you're able to actually complete projects and move forward with with life
Mm-hmm.
and how to be more. You have to be more disciplined, especially working
Yes.
from home.
Yes.
You know,
You need a
I
plan.
hate to say it, but it was a blessing and a curse that Sports Center wasn't on. Because
Yeah.
because we would sit in front and have the TV running in the background watching highlights, but there were no sports to
Yeah.
watch. So we were forced to actually do work
We
when you're at
actually
home.
had a lot of things going on that didn't, it kept us from focusing on what really, really, really mattered.
Hmm.
Because that's where we
Hmm.
are right now.
Yes, yes. If you
Like it
haven't
or
figured
not.
it out by now, you're lost. If you
Yeah.
haven't figured it out.
And yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about in the Culture Soup moment. You can't get away from people talking about COVID-19. How has it changed your life? You talked about, it was a blessing in that it caused you to focus on the things that really mattered, i.e., Sports Center,
Hmm.
turn it off. But
Hmm.
technology has really changed a lot of ways the way people are actually living. It didn't do much different for me because I was already
You were
doing
so
it.
far, yeah, you were so far ahead of the curve.
Yeah. But how has it switched things up for you?
Well, with comedy, it has shut us down.
Yeah.
The COVID-19 has shut down the New York comedy scene, Broadway as well. So, my weekly shows that I was doing are no more. They're doing pop-up and drive-in shows now that are okay, but it's still a little dangerous for me to go out there. I don't think it's
Yeah.
worth the risk.
And
And we're
dangerous
doing
how?
Zoom.
Tell everybody what you mean by that.
Well, when I say dangerous, we still don't know how you get COVID.
Yeah.
It's not like you kiss somebody and it's a wrap. I
Look.
mean, it's not like you sleep with somebody and oh, it's unprotected sex. You don't know how it happens.
Yeah.
And so to go in a room full of people to tell jokes and everyone's laughing, which is
Yes.
exhaling,
Yes.
and you're sharing a mic with an MC and other comedians, you don't know where they've been or what type of lifestyle they lead. Those are a lot of things you have to take into consideration.
I'm
Just
glad you
walking
said
into
that.
the
I'm glad
yeah.
you said that because I had this conversation with my daughter's pediatrician. She's having her well child for going into third grade, right?
Hmm.
And the office was pretty clear. It's like you're not really seeing that many people, but they were managing the crowd. They were only seeing well children. And if you were sick, you called in, you let them know, if it was COVID, of course, they'd redirect you, right?
Yeah, it's like
But
press COVID, press nine. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for COVID, press 9. But in general, because the kids weren't together, they weren't as sick. The volume of
Hmm.
sick kids just wasn't happening this summer.
Hmm.
So
You're absolutely right.
I
Yeah.
said to him, I was like, you know what? When I think about New Zealand and some of these places that just like COVID, just right in the bud, nipped it.
Done.
It was because they just all stayed home. no matter
Yeah,
what, right?
they shut it
And
down.
the doctor was like, that's exactly right. He said, these masks are not cures. And, there's a lot of people that think I'm going to put on a mask. I'm good.
Yeah,
And you're right. We don't know how we get this.
right.
We really
That's the
don't.
scary thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go out and tell a couple jokes for 20, 15, 20 minutes, you got to think about it. Is the money worth it, or is
Yeah.
the rush that you get from it worth it? How about we just sit still for a little bit, and then once we conquer this thing, then we can do it right.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to go out there and not even me being, sick or anything, but me not knowing that I have it and give it to somebody else.
Right.
You never think about that. My nephew had it. He showed no symptoms. He's self quarantined. He's 20 years old though. So he showed no symptoms. He's self quarantined for 14 days, and he's fine. But he didn't know he had it until he got tested.
You don't know
So
sometimes.
right, you just don't know. And he's an athlete. He's in
Yeah.
great shape, student athlete. But you just don't know. So the
Scary.
whole comedy world is, you're taking a risk. I don't think the reward is worth it. Not
Well,
at this time.
there's a lesson in there for all of us, and I'm glad you mentioned how the laughter, it kind of expels whatever is
Hmm.
inside of you. Singing is the same way. And
Yes.
I think it's really crazy that people are still trying to have church services in the midst
No.
of this.
Yeah.
Congregations singing, and singing propels.
Right. Right.
And
And
black folks, we got to shout.
yeah, we got to shout, we got to stomp, but we also got to collect that money that comes in that collection plate. So that's one
Well,
of the reasons why these
they better figure
congregations.
out how to do it electronically, because it's
Yeah.
not worth
Yeah. You
it.
better get your ties, cash out these ties. You got to do
Yes,
something.
exactly. text,
Sell them in.
text to give, text to give.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
not worth it. It's not worth it. The other thing that has really affected, not only the comedy is how we do our day to day lives as
Hmm.
far as living is concerned. So we're no longer just running out to the grocery store to pick up something. It's like, all right, it's a trip. We're
Yeah.
going. Once we go, we
Suit
go
up.
downstairs. We wash we wash all the groceries, whatever you got to do to sanitize it. Strip down, shower downstairs, leave the clothes downstairs, back upstairs.
Mm.
And it's a routine now. It
Yeah.
has put us into a routine. It's a
Yeah.
shame, but I'd rather do that than be sorry.
We're getting everything delivered. And
Hmm.
even
Even
that
that too.
is, it sounds luxurious, but it's not. you
It's
know?
not.
They drop that stuff on the porch, they ring the doorbell, they run,
And run, yeah, run.
And then I have this little holding spot where, Joni's not allowed to touch it until mommy's wiped it all down. I
Hmm.
wipe it down before I even take it into the kitchen.
Right,
And then I
right,
wipe myself down, before I can even cook it.
right,
It's
right.
crazy.
It's procedures that are put in place now.
So,
Who knows how long this is going to last, though?
yeah. So you had to pivot as a business owner.
Hmm.
Comedy is your business, and
Correct.
I felt a lot of the brunt of this in speaking more than anything, because it used to be somebody calls, hey, we got a gig, you get that contract in place, you're on a plane going somewhere, you're going to stay
Hmm.
in somebody's hotel, they're going to
Hmm.
put you up somewhere, and you're going to face 500, 800 people in a big conference hotel and speak. That wasn't happening anymore.
No,
And
no.
so everybody pivoted to online. Everybody
Mhm.
and their mother, can I say, that found out that Instagram goes live.
Right. Some people just wasting the world's bandwidth. They need to just cut it
Yes,
off.
like, okay. And honestly, I kind of stepped back because I had a boot camp that I wanted to do in several cities, business
Hmm.
boot camp. And then, the idea was like, go online. I was like, everybody and their mama is
Yeah.
online right now. And then most of them didn't have budget. So it was free, or it was
Hmm.
close to it, which was going to drive down the cost. And I wasn't giving
It's
my
just
stuff
going to
away
dilute
free.
your product. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Dilute your,
wasn't going to
yeah.
give it away for free. So
Right.
just everything changed. But you lean into something else, and you have some other pursuits.
Yeah. So during the COVID, well, this was prior to COVID that we put the business plan together. What I'm referring to is a radio station. It's
Yeah.
called 108 Soul, the
Yay!
Soul of New York.
Do
So
y'all
we
wait?
play.
Stop. We got to give that the air to breathe so that people understand what you just said. This
Yeah,
man
yeah,
has a radio station.
yeah. We launched a radio station during the pandemic, which is unheard of.
Unheard
We we
of.
we are employing people while people are losing jobs. We found a way to give people
Ain't
a
God
paycheck.
good?
And it's been growing. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, we are in 150,000 households, I should
Wow.
say. So we launched May 2nd. We were up and running since the end of April, but the first time we put an on-air personality on was May 2nd, and then we've been up and
Wow.
running ever since.
Can I just put this in perspective? You and your wife had the unmitigated gall to launch in the number one market on the
Yeah,
planet, probably.
yeah, yeah,
You didn't
yeah.
just launch in, uh, some
Yeah.
little burb somewhere in
Right.
the middle of
Nowhere. Yeah,
nowhere.
we're in New York.
You're in New
Uh,
York and you holding it down with 150 how many
150,000 and
households?
growing. Yeah. 150,000 listeners.
Wow.
We
So
hit
tell
we
everybody to
hit
listen
two today.
online. Where do they go?
108soul.com. You go
Wow.
to the app, download 108 Soul New York. Alexa, say Alexa, enable 108 Soul New York.
There
She'll
you
play it.
go. Alexa will
Um,
play the Culture Soup podcast for you
yeah,
too, you know.
that's right. You gotta get that.
You got to
Gotta
tell
get
them.
that skill enabled. That's right. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been growing, and it's a beautiful thing. We're interviewing. Do you know the ladies of Sky? Have you heard of Sky? You've heard of Sky.
What is Sky?
Call me.
Yeah. Well,
Satisfaction
yeah.
guarantee. Yeah, we're
Call me.
interviewing them. Yeah, they just had an unsung come out, and so we're interviewing them.
Oh.
What is it? September.
Yeah.
So we're trying to catch up to what the other stations have been doing, but we just got our feet wet. We popped out cherry, and now we're ready to run,
Oh
man.
God.
You know.
Listen. Well, we're gonna get around to the marriage and the honeymoon and all that in a minute. But how are you employing people? You're employing people, so are they working remotely? Are they
Working remotely, and
wow.
the beauty, and I said this before, COVID is a gift and a curse, because we were getting ready to sign the contract for the studio, and the studio came in.
She wants to say
Hello, look
hi.
out.
That's Mr.
Hi.
Jamie. She can't hear you because I got on these headsets.
Oh, okay, so you can
Wave
see
to
me
her.
waving though, right?
Yes.
All right.
My mini me had to say hi.
Yes, yes. Oh man, that's
Okay.
adorable.
I'll turn
Oh
on the
god,
air conditioner and I'll be out and give you something to eat in a little bit.
you
She
gotta
said,
love
I'm
that,
hungry.
man.
And by the way, I'm hot.
By the way,
And by the way, that's my mini me. Like she is like a little ball of meat.
that's great.
Times
That's great. Isn't
10.
it so weird to see like your offspring taking on your characteristics, and,
I
and you're looking at
know.
yourself in like a mirror. And it's
It's
like, whoa, this
crazy.
this Benjamin Button mirror that I'm looking at is just ridiculous, you know?
I say she's me download times 10. So I have to look
Really?
down, but she's growing so fast.
Yeah, yeah. My son is almost as tall as me. He's 15 years old.
Oh
He'll be
goodness.
15 in October, and he's
Yeah.
like 6 feet tall. So
Woo.
yeah, yeah.
I hope he's like
And
in
even
sports
that,
and about to make you some money.
yeah. We put we redid the backyard, put a basketball hoop back there because they
Good.
locked up all the parks here in New York, so we couldn't go to the
Yeah.
parks. And so we made him a little area for him to shoot around and get busy on.
Yeah.
But you have to adapt.
Right.
You have to adapt.
So let's
You
talk
know.
about a remote radio station because now
Mhm.
more than ever you can do that because the technology is here. I mean, we
Correct.
talked about this
Correct.
setup
Yeah. So
for the
everyone's working from
podcast.
home. Everyone is working from home. The DJs are working from wherever they want to work from, so they're
They
live. Like we
love
have
it.
DJ Mel Star. He broadcast the other day from the lakeside. So he has
Wow.
video of him DJing on the lake.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great, great, great footage. But COVID, it stopped us from signing that lease for the
Mm-hmm.
studio, and so that saved us now with 3,000 a month easy. So
Yeah, you could press the
it's like
gas.
right, right. So
Wow. Will you
it
ever
kind of
go
helped
into a
us.
studio?
Well, we have to look at it, and
Yeah.
if we do, I bet you it won't be for 3,000 a month the
Nope.
way that you said.
Because you've learned that you could do without it.
Correct. Correct. And the real estate
Wow.
market is taking a hit here in New York. Everyone's moving out of the
I
city
see that.
to the suburbs, upstate, even down south.
Some people are moving down
Um,
south.
right, right. It's the whole move again. So you really have to think, does it make sense to own a studio in New York City where you have to put up a glass partition between you and the person that you're interviewing, or you're wearing a mask the entire time? What's the draw to it?
Yeah.
Just to say you have a studio in the city, I think I'll save my money on
Well,
that.
we're seeing brands like Twitter and even Google's considering it. Twitter told them people don't ever come back.
Yes. Yeah. Why would
Go
you? Right.
forth,
Now
prosper.
we don't have to pay the office space. We
No.
don't have to pay for the office space. So, yeah, we'll continue. What you're going to see though going forward is a lot of people are going to lose their benefits.
Yeah.
So they're going to become independent contractors because they're just going to scale it down to the minimum that they need to pay you
Look,
in order for you to do your job.
COVID is
Because
go ahead.
even with my former position, I was getting, an extra set of money, as I like to call it, just for travel.
Yeah.
To travel into the city, it was like a stipend. So,
Yeah.
that's not there anymore.
Right.
You know, if you're not coming into the city, we don't need to pay you that amount of money.
And this is a great segue into my book. You see it back there? No thanks.
No thanks.
7 ways to say I'll just include myself. I set up this book by talking about how this digital economy is fractured now. And it was already competitive. It was already driven by technology. You have companies that were saying, we're not going to keep anybody but 3 to 5 years. It's a gig economy, which is what you're describing. Going
Yes.
to, oh, gee, we're just going to have contractors.
Hmm.
This is like the big warning and wake up call, especially for women of color and black women, to let them know that if they can harness this technology, wield it like a weapon of mass innovation,
Hmm.
and then use all these leadership skills that we were born with. We were already making something out of nothing. That's innovation,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
We are already transformational leaders. These are people who are going to run to the risk and have an entrepreneurial mindset. Do you know that black women are running more businesses, small businesses, than
Yes.
anybody?
Anybody.
And then
That's
we're
right.
over credentialed. We
That's
got
right.
more advanced degrees than anybody, any other group out there. And you know why it is? We have been thinking that if we went back to school, got that next certification, they would eventually accept us and elevate us. And we're waiting on that tap on the shoulder.
No,
And
you
this book
can't
says,
wait.
don't wait on any
Can't
tap
wait.
on the shoulder.
Yeah.
You better
Hold on.
step up and
Oh,
lead.
that's right.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
I mean,
I always say, don't wait for someone to put you on, put yourself on. You
yeah.
know,
And you
and you have to.
demonstrated that with this
You,
radio station.
yeah, I
Having
got so much pushback. Oh my, and people will talk you out of your dreams.
won't
You
they?
hear me?
That's why you can't
They,
talk to them.
that's right. You can't tell
Don't
everyone
tell
your
them
dreams.
nothing.
You can't tell everyone your dreams, and they will talk you out of it because they're too scared to try to do it themselves,
Yeah.
and come up with every excuse why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't do this during the pandemic. Why? Everyone is home. This
Right.
is the perfect time to reach people.
Right.
Everyone is home.
Right.
Everyone's tuned into D Nice. What do you think is going on? You know what I mean?
And
You
why is
better
every DJ on the
realize.
planet trying to be D nice now?
Exactly. You better realize that people are not going to clubs.
Right.
People are not partying out like that. So you bring the party to them.
Yes, you do.
And if you build it, they will come.
Yes. Or they'll stay
You know?
home and enjoy it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Either
I,
way.
I talk a lot about grabbing change by the horns.
Hmm.
And that's why I think this is just an amazing thing that you've done with this radio station in the midst of a pandemic. And one of the things that I've been encouraging my clients to think about, yes, we're in the middle of the pandemic. Now's the time. Jump
Now's the
on
time.
it. Whatever it
That's
is you
right.
were thinking about, don't wait until somebody comes and drops that little message in your inbox that you've been laid off.
Right.
Why not have something
Right.
going already? I mean, it's the story of
Right.
my life.
Right.
I
Right.
started
You
all
have
of
to
this
create.
before I left AT&T.
You have to continuously try to create.
Mm-hmm.
Create your own path. You have to have a mindset of I got to get my own. I have to have my own. I have to own my own.
Yeah.
Stop being a worker
Yes.
and become an owner.
Yes.
An employer instead of an employee.
Yes.
And you'll get the understanding of why you don't really. I hate to say this, but you don't really need to go to college to get a degree to be successful.
Look, we're
You know,
learning that. These tech companies are learning that They're getting some of
Hmm.
their best talents by dropping that requirement.
Right, right, right.
The tech
Because
is
these
moving
people
so
are
fast
knowledgeable.
anyway, right? They have to keep
Hmm.
up. Even if you have a degree, you have to go back and get that certification.
Certification, you always got to, even when I was doing accounting, you still had to get your continuing education
Yeah.
credits, So all that stuff you still have to learn. You got
Well,
to
and
keep
there's
going.
something to having that entrepreneurial mindset, even if you are working for somebody. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you know what I mean because for a long time you working for somebody else, but you were doing your own thing,
Yes.
not just
Yeah.
on the side, but you had to use those skills inside that radio station, didn't you?
That's right.
Tell
That's
me
right.
how.
Well, within that radio station, I was learning bits and pieces on how the radio station works.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is I was in the sales department, so I was able to touch every department because they all had to report somewhat to me
Mm-hmm.
in order to get it done, in order to get it sold. So I learned about events. I learned about how to promote events. I learned about programming. I learned about the relationships with clients. And you put all that into one big bowl. You stir it up, and what do you get? You get a radio station.
Yeah.
So the people who don't know, you just hear music playing. You just hear your favorite personality talking. You just hear a concert that's being, advertised, but you don't know all the moving parts that go into that in order for you to get to that moment. So, I learned all the background things that builds a radio station. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take this knowledge. I'm going to put the people who I know in place who can deliver, not give me a headache. I work off of good energy. If you don't have, you could be the best talent in the world, but if your energy's not there, I don't want to deal with
No
you.
stank jerks.
No. Right. Say it again. I like a little
No
twang.
stank
No stank
jerks.
Joe. That's right. No
Jamie's like,
stank
I'm
Joe.
the comedian here. What are you doing?
Yes, yes. But you put all those people together, and then you get a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can tell you, you get to pick your own team to go play.
Yeah.
You're going to try to pick everyone that you think are good at their position.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get a subpar person. You don't want to get a person who's down, doesn't believe in themselves, and
Yeah.
a person who comes in thinking they're better than everyone else. That's not going to help the team.
Yeah.
This is a team effort. We are trying to win as a team, and I think we have a great team. We're still adding, members, but at the same time, what we have right now, the core, the nucleus is
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
And it's showing because people are actually tuning in. People are leaving comments on the Facebook, the Instagram. Just today, someone wrote, it's a breath of fresh air to listen to you guys. We're tired of hearing
Yeah.
the same five songs on the other stations. It's good to hear good music, and there
Especially
is
when
a
you can go to
ton.
TikTok and hear it all.
Yeah, right. The president's about to shut that down. That guy is
He's not
ridiculous.
gonna do
But anyway,
anything. He's not gonna
he's
do
trying.
anything. He's just
Until they pay him
mad.
off. Right.
Mad at the
Until they
world.
pay him off, he's going to hold the
Oh
pressure
yeah,
on.
they cut him in a little bit.
Cut him in. Exactly.
Yeah, he'd be all
Exactly.
right with the Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue. He hasn't broken
Yes.
into that market. And that's the
Ah,
issue.
but you said something that I think is very important
What's that?
when you were at the radio station.
Hmm.
You didn't just sit there and do the responsibilities that they mapped out on that job description.
That's right. You got to learn
You
everything
got
from the
to
mail
learn
room up.
everything. You got to understand how that whole thing works. Even if you aren't planning to go do your own thing, that
You can
positions you
still
to
go.
run the joint.
Yeah. Yeah. When I left Radio 1039, I was in a running to actually be like the general manager for the station.
See?
But but they sold me a Buffalo Wolf tickets. Yeah, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, and never panned out. So I was like, you know what? Before I get caught on this sinking ship, let me
Yeah.
jump ship. And I left in August, and they let everyone go in November.
Ooh.
So yeah, it
See?
was like you get out
Okay.
when you see the
Look.
fire, run.
Yes. And
And
even
that's
before you
exactly what
see
I
the
did.
fire, we
Hmm.
have to be
Start
willing to,
planning.
yes, we got to be willing to pick up our credentials and move.
Hmm.
And so many of us, I think we saw our parents, generation after generation, stay in one job forever and ever and ever. And that's really what they implanted in us and said, that's what you
Right.
need to do. So part of us have these mindsets that we need to stay with the company and just stay loyal, even after they've given us how many wolf tickets?
Yeah, too
Right.
many to
And you just
count.
wait and wait and wait until your time comes, and before you know it,
Yeah, what you 19 years on the job, they're gonna fire you right before the 20th year,
Yeah.
and it's no remorse. Yeah, hey, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Here's a watch. A watch?
A
What am I
watch.
supposed to
Yeah. And then they may dress it up.
do?
Especially if you VP level, they're not gonna call it a
Yeah,
layoff. They're gonna
right.
give you a big chunk of money. It's gonna be beautiful, but it's the same thing as
Yeah,
getting laid off.
right.
It's just dressed up nicer.
Right, right. And then you have to think about, what you should have been doing during those years to prepare yourself to
Oh
move
my
forward.
gosh, I have a
And
couple
that's the
clients
whole
like
woulda,
that.
shoulda, coulda.
Yeah,
You
and
don't
I
want to
have to
live life
keep them thinking, moving forward, because they are
forward.
so tempted to look back and saying, I should have been doing blah blah blah. Why didn't
Yep.
I? I'm like, okay, you can't do that anymore. You got to look forward to move
Correct.
forward.
Correct. Yeah. You
Oh
got to
my
move forward.
goodness. Well, listen. Between the time that we started this podcast, I say we because you helped me do it.
Uh,
Between the time we started this podcast and now, you became a married man.
yes, yes, yes. I'm
You
married.
sprouted a wifey.
Yeah. Nikki Sunshine's my wife.
Yes.
She's also a comedian here in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
We've been dating. Well, we still are dating because even though you're
You're
married, you
supposed to
still
keep
date.
doing that.
We've been together for 5 years. For
Okay.
5 years and 1 year married. So we and this was something we were talking about before. We went through this whole. Um, I hate to say it, but it's like premarital counseling.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, okay. What's bad about that?
because it seems like you need to get some things straightened out before you love each other. That's what It's
Well, and
like.
you do that. I mean, isn't that the reality? You got two lives,
Uh
two
huh.
very separate lives that you're about to
Correct.
merge. Companies don't merge until they have consultants go in and figure the whole thing out,
Correct.
and then they
Correct.
still
You're
don't get
absolutely
it
right about
right.
that. Exactly. You're absolutely right about that. But usually when it's like premarital, well, it's like you have issues. You know what I mean? It's
It
like you're
makes you feel
going to
that
a
way.
counselor to straighten out your issues to see if you should still be together. And I think love can conquer those things, especially with dialect. And, you're talking and just being able to communicate properly with the person who you want to communicate with. So there was really no need for the premarital counseling. Because when you put counseling at the end of anything, it's like, uh-oh,
You
wait, what
know,
happened here?
our people don't want to hear that anyway.
No, we
We
don't. We
think
don't want to hear that.
counselor, therapist,
No.
psychologist. Are you calling
Yeah.
me crazy? That's
Yeah.
where we go. But
Yeah.
you
Well,
know what?
you
It's
are crazy.
good. You
You're
need a
crazy.
tune up. Everybody needs a tune up.
Right. So we did that, but we did it on a larger level on national TV.
Yes, you
So.
did. And I didn't know this until after y'all are married. Y'all, they have
Hmm.
an IG account, Married and Funny. Isn't that what it's called?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Married and
I
fun.
started following it when I realized it was him and Nikki. So I was like, okay, this will be fun. But it was this reality show. It was TV content. And
Yes.
y'all, they were going through counseling. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking, are they going to make it? But then I had to say, they're already married. So tell us about that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, that show was it helped our relationship. I cannot front. It helped our relationship a lot. It forces you to ask the questions that you wouldn't normally ask within the first 30 or
Mm-hmm.
even within the first year of dating someone. Like, what's your credit score? Let's look at your health insurance. Let's look at your health records.
These are the things
Let's
that
look at
people
your
don't want to talk
background.
about.
Right. It gets you to actually say, hey, if you're going to be closed and guarded with this information, why should I open up my world to you?
Yeah.
Why should I allow you to come sleep in my bed? Why should I wake up in the morning next to you if I don't even know who you are?
Spending each
You
other's
know,
money.
spending each other's money. Exactly. Spending money like you don't have a real plan in place.
Yeah.
You're going on vacations, everyone's flying to Cancun. How much money you got in the bank? Are you really out
And
here balling
money
like
was
that?
a real sticking
Oh
point in
yes,
one of those episodes
yes it
because
was.
y'all got down
Yeah.
to expectations and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
quite add up.
Nope, nope, it sure didn't. And we still don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. Because no marriage and no relationship is
No,
perfect.
you're not the same
But we
people.
right, we learn to work through it, and that's the most important part. If we're working through it, then that means we have a common goal, which is to win together. But money was, and you had to be realistic.
Yeah.
My thought process is, Yeah, everyone wants $1 million in the bank. Everyone wants, everyone wants to live comfortably. But how do you get there?
Yeah.
What are the steps that's going to get you there? You just don't wake up one day and there's $1 million in the bank. You're expecting to hit the lotto. Is that how you're going to get it? What are your steps? And so her expectations were, oh, I need this amount of money in order to feel comfortable. All right, that's great. I don't need that amount of money. I'm comfortable right now.
Well, and it
You're
also raised a question. Well, if you were alone before and you didn't have that money, how'd you get by? Were you happy?
right, right, exactly. And they cut that part out. It was you feel something, you're like, man, they cut the good stuff out. But
Yes. Well,
where's
and
the B footage?
isn't this really the way people fantasize in fairy tale, if that's
Hmm.
even a verb?
No, you just
Marriage,
made it
like
one, and I'm gonna
all of a
take it.
sudden you get married and everything is just peaches and cream and
No,
money
no,
flowing out the
no,
bank. Like all of a
no.
sudden, boop, it's beautiful.
Right, right.
But you
One of
really
her
are.
biggest things was like, the expenses,
Mm-hmm.
because I have two kids prior to our marriage, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to be responsible for your kids and blah blah blah." I'm like, to a certain extent, you become a stepmom. Yeah, you have
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, but we're together now. I've never asked you for any money.
Yeah.
I'm okay right now. So what makes you think once we get married, I'm not going to be doing the same thing I'm doing now,
Yeah.
if not more?
Right.
So it kind of stumped her because of, and it came out in later episodes as the her past relationships.
Yeah.
She was the one always footing the bill. She
Yeah.
felt as though, and you can't bring that baggage into this
No.
relationship
No, it's
because
not
I'm a
fair.
totally different person. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not one of them bum dudes you used to rock with. You know what I'm
There's a reason why you're
saying?
not marrying them.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
Right?
reason why you're sitting here with me because they
Yeah.
didn't work out, and it didn't work out for a good reason.
Well, and this whole thing about blended families, there are all sorts of degrees of stepmom,
Yes,
bonus moms, mimis, whatever you want to call what
Uncle
you're going to
Daddies.
be.
Yeah,
And that has to do with your alignment with whoever you marry.
that's right.
I've seen
That's
some
right.
bonus moms that don't have any responsibilities.
Right.
Their job is to be the wife.
Right. 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 And the beauty of it is that she was around my children for three years prior to us being engaged and getting married. So the relationship developed,
Mhm.
and that was important to me.
Mhm.
Her and with my mom as well.
Yeah.
So I can see that this is someone I can trust not only with my life but with my children's life.
Yes.
And God forbid something happens to me, or
Yeah.
they're just going to go back with their mom or whatever it
Mhm.
is. They have a mother in her as well,
Yes.
and that's important.
That is
So
important.
I'm always busy. They can talk to her,
Yeah.
and get a point of view. Maybe Daddy doesn't provide,
Right.
So. And maybe you're not going to like my point of view because I'm daddy. You
Right.
may want to hear from a mother or a woman's point of view. So,
What is one
but
of
it,
your biggest learnings now that you've been married a little bit over a year?
um, You women have a lot of wigs. I didn't know that.
I don't have any wigs. Okay, I'm not one of them. I have accessories.
I'm
That's
just
what
playing.
what Joni called them. My dad looked at my head the other day because I had a lot in my head, and he goes, "Oh, Shelly, your hair is growing." And Joni goes, "She's wearing accessories, Papa." My dad was like, "She said accessories. She just turned 8."
Yes, yes. Accessories. What I've learned, communication is key.
Mhm.
I've learned communication is key. I've been married prior, and you can't shut down.
No.
You know, I've learned to accept my shortcomings. I'm not the best at everything.
Yeah.
No one is. And I've learned to just laugh at life, enjoy life.
Yeah. You gotta
It's
laugh.
not, yeah, it's not as serious as we believe it is. We're not out here doing brain surgery every day. Being that my wife is also a comedian, it's jokes all day.
I was gonna ask, what's it like having two comedians in the house?
It's
Like,
sometimes
I
it's
already
annoying.
can't deal thinking about it.
It, Sometimes it's annoying on her part. She hates me, because I'm always joking.
Uh huh.
She says I'm always on stage.
Oh.
But it also it's fun because we both understand the fields that we're in, entertainment, and we can bounce ideas off of one another. We can go on. We're going to St. Martin next year together to perform.
Oh,
We just
cool.
went to Jamaica last year to perform together. So those type of things help keep us close, help
Mm-hmm.
keep us together, help keep us creating. Like the Married and Funny.
Yeah.
That is a channel that we need to rebrand again because of this COVID. We couldn't shoot certain things, but we'll get back to it. But that helped us grow even closer in writing together with comedy. Because we never wrote together. She did her
Yeah.
stand up, I did mine, and then it kind of like just merged. But now
Well,
we're like, all right, this is how we need to write it out.
you're a
This is how we
talented
need to do it.
couple.
Thank you,
So y'all
thank you.
must
She
have
does.
some things in the hopper besides just stand up and you
We got a
know
few
the
things. Yeah, we got.
islands.
Well, right now the concentration is on radio because
Yeah.
she does she's the voice of the station. She does
Okay.
voiceovers.
Oh, that's
She does,
awesome.
she does national commercials, local commercials. So she's the
Yeah.
voice of the station. When you turn it on, she's the legal ID. She's the one who's doing all the sweepers
She's
on
your Sonic
on the
ID.
station.
She's the brand.
Yeah, she's a brand,
Uh-huh.
exactly. And so when I said I was putting pieces together, to put this puzzle together as far as the radio station, she was a major part of it.
And look at that,
So
Nikki. He's gonna have to go on and marry you. So it was just in the cards.
yeah, right, right. So it worked out, it
That's
worked out.
awesome. That's awesome. So anything coming up that you want to talk about that
We
we
got
should be
St.
aware
Martin.
of? Mm-hmm.
We have St. Martin that the station is giving a trip away to. So 2021 is July 8th through the
Mm-hmm.
12th. We're going to St. Martin. The station is. Hopefully, COVID will allow us.
Yeah.
And all packages that you purchase are fully insured. You can get your money back, airfare, and everything. We have that. We're going to relaunch Sunday Night Live, which is my brand that I started,
Yeah.
12 years ago. I was
Comedy.
running it for
Mm-hmm.
10 years. We're going to rebrand that with the help of Broadway Comedy Club
Okay.
when the world opens back up.
Yeah.
And that was basically, all the comedians that you see on Comedy Central, MTV, they've come through
Yeah.
Sunday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
especially New York, the
Mm-hmm.
comedy scene. And I think that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't have we actually built the studio in the house. So what you have,
Yes.
we built that in the house as well.
You need it. It's
Um,
like a staple now.
yeah,
If you're gonna
yeah,
be in
because
any kind of entertainment, media, you
you need
gotta
it.
have it.
Right. And
Yeah.
she does voiceover work. So,
That's
there's no more
perfect.
going to the city for auditions. She connects with, I think it's called Voice Connect.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of
Does
it.
she do ACX?
Source Connect. It's called Source Connect.
Okay.
That's
All
what it's
right.
called.
Do you know what
Um,
ACX is?
no, what is
It's
ACX?
Amazon and Audible's audiobook
All right.
setup.
Well, that's
So
another
actors
stream of
and
income. I need to
producers,
tell her
yeah, she
that too.
could go to acx.amazon.com, I think it is. If
Hmm.
you're an actor, a producer, and you want to offer up your voice to
Okay.
read a book,
Yes.
um,
All right. All right.
it
Yes.
bids and all that good stuff. They get the cut, and the
Hmm.
authors get a cut, and the book is out there. I'm about to put my book on audio this fall.
Wow.
So I was
Wow.
considering voicing it myself because so many people know my voice from the podcast.
Right.
Um, I'm still on the
You
fence
still
about it.
debating?
I get more
Okay.
money if I do it myself.
Yeah, I think you need to do it yourself right now.
Yeah,
Just take the time out and do it.
and there's certain things I put my flavor in the book. So,
So where's your book available?
oh, it's everywhere. It's Amazon. You can go to
Uh-huh.
Barnes and Noble. Any online retailer you want to, you can get it in ebook form, and it's going to
Hmm.
be available in hard copy in September. So later this month, it's going to be available. And you can also go to my website at elmichellesmith.com. And there, if you get the paperback, you get $750 worth of free digital tools that go along with the book. It's
Get out of
literally
here.
an executive coach in a book.
Really?
So if you get the digital tools, I literally show up on your screen and start walking you through stuff. And I'm
Wow.
also giving you some little scoop and skinny that's not in the book.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
it's kind of a sweet little deal.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll order it when I get off the line with you. We'll
Yay!
talk. Yeah,
Awesome. You know what,
yeah.
Jamie? It's been awesome having you on here. But you know what? I got one more question.
Okay.
What made you decide? Because I talked about why I decided not to do my boot camps online. What
Hmm.
made you decide to opt out of any kind of online comedy shows?
Well, I've done a few, and it all depends on the setup. Like you were saying before, you have to make sure the setup is proper.
Yeah.
The audio is good.
Mm-hmm.
The visual is good. But I've been asked possibly on a weekly basis to do these Zoom shows, and I've only
Is
agreed
it
to do
Zoom?
three. Yeah, I've
Because
only
Zoom
agreed to do
isn't
three.
always right for everything.
No, it's not.
And they
It's
try to
not.
do it for everything.
And it's not a good back and forth because the actual crowd, quote unquote crowd, they're muted.
Yeah.
So we only have a few people who are not muted, and you got to hope that these people are paying attention. You got
Or
to
that
hope
they
that
even
these
think it's
people ain't
funny.
right. These people ain't. Hey, listen, I'm on this Zoom over here, and can you turn? I'm living my life right now, fam. How are you barking out instructions to your kids?
No.
And it's just not the same. So it was an easy decision for me to turn it down. And
Yeah.
first and foremost, they're not paying what they would be paying in the clubs.
That's what I'm talking about, even with the speaking.
Right.
If I take a free speaking gig, because they're all over the place, I need to
You're
ensure that the people who are watching and listening are potential clients. My
correct.
whole thing is I need to walk away with money,
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. Either that or let me be able to showcase something that I can sell
a product.
and see, yeah, product.
Yeah.
I'm not just coming up there giving you 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my website is no
No.
way in the world,
You
no way in
buying
the
this
world.
book.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. And the thing about it, we've allowed entertainment to be watered down in such a way that has devalued us.
See,
So now, when the clubs do open up, these people are not coming out to the clubs. I saw him throughout the summer
look,
online. There's no reason for me
y'all,
to run out there.
can I just turn my face to my audience for a second? All of you coaches and speakers out there, that was a word. If you're doing everything free right now, you need to be very concerned about what your value is coming out of this. And if you'll
Hmm.
be able to negotiate the same rates.
No,
Man, that's
it's dropped.
huge. That's
It's
huge.
dropped. It's dropped because we see our peers are doing it, and then they're looking at you like, "Why aren't you doing it?" Because I got a mortgage to pay, and I can't
Yes.
pay it with peanuts.
Right.
You have to be able to hold to a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you
Right.
can't be cocky and bullish about your price, but at the same time, you have to have some type of dignity when you're prostituting or soliciting
Right.
yourself.
And
you know?
understanding, you don't pay the same thing as when you show up in front of 1,000 people on stage, speaking, doing comedy or whatever. If you're doing it to a local audience of about 50 folks and you're
Mhm.
doing it virtual, you still need a price tag for that. But
That's
it's
right.
not going to be the 15, 16, 20 grand, 25,
Right. That you were getting before.
unless
Right.
you're a Michelle Obama.
Yeah, right. But
And
what I've learned is that how these Zoom shows are really gonna take off and make money is when they get the sponsorships behind them. So now
that's it.
if you're getting like a Michelle Obama on a Zoom,
Hmm.
guess what? Visa will sponsor that.
Yeah, they will. And she'll get
American
her
Express will sponsor
75K.
that. Right,
Hmm.
right. You know what I mean? They'll throw some money behind it when you get some people on it. So that is potential, but I'm not going down that route
Yeah.
because those companies are cutting back as well as far as sponsorships are concerned. It's got to make sense for them. So
Well, and you've done the smart thing. You've diversified. That's
yeah,
that's the thing because when speaking, when comedy dried up, guess what I turned to? I had my coaching. I had my
hmm
brand partnerships, you know.
and you had a book.
They didn't see that
That book
coming.
is going to pay you. It's going to pay you generations past
Yes,
you.
residuals.
That's right.
Residuals. And
You
came
making
through.
money in your sleep. That is
Yes.
beautiful.
It is beautiful. It
And
is
you wake up and
beautiful.
you see cha-ching. Oh my God.
And now they just put it in your bank.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
electronic.
man.
Just ping.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing, man.
It
When you see
is.
you see those, man. Listen, I'm hooked up with Sound Exchange because we did an album too. We did
You
a comedy
did?
album. Yeah, a comedy album called "Love Is a Joke" with
Oh, I love
I think it was three other comedy couples
it.
on
Mm-hmm.
the album, right? And so we recorded it, and that's out right now for sale, and it's running on LOL Network is running on Kevin Hart's radio on Sirius and everything like that. But that's what we call mailboxman.
Yes.
So when you go to the mailbox every quarter and you see a check in there for stuff that you've done in the past, that is great.
Yes. Get
There's
your
no
royalties,
feeling.
get your residuals. You need
Yes,
those.
yes,
Set it up. It's never too
yes.
late.
And you
And
gotta
this is just
learn.
book number one. I got
Exactly.
at least another two or three, four or five
Coming.
coming.
That's right. That's right. And people don't get that.
Yeah.
You have to understand it's more than just going to work.
Yeah.
How do you make money while you're not
Yes.
working? How do you do that?
Yes. That's the mindset. That is the mindset. It is entrepreneurial. Even if you're 9 to 5 people, you
Yeah.
got to have an entrepreneurial mindset. And you just
Yeah.
sold my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate that.
You sold me on that. I'm gonna get my copy today. Real talk.
That's
And I want my
awesome.
750
See?
shimmies.
Yes, I'm going to give you the shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Shimmy, shimmy. Thank
It's
you so
always
much
a
for your
pleasure
time,
talking to
Jamie.
you.
I can't wait to meet Nikki. At some point, I want to have both y'all on.
Yeah, yeah. She's just as crazy as I am.
I,
So
I,
I'm sure you two will hit
she
it
has to be
off.
crazier because she married you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely
No,
right
I'm
about
just
that.
kidding. No, Nikki did well, and you did well too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I appreciated everything you poured into me. And y'all, it only takes a little bit. Like this was a phone call and a couple of
Hmm.
text messages, and the Culture Soup podcast was born. So,
And now look at it.
yes,
How many, dope. So
get you
happy
a
for you.
tribe
So
like
proud of you.
mine.
So happy. So happy for you. So proud of you.
Thank you. I
Every time I'm
appreciate
watching,
it.
I'm following on Facebook, on Instagram, and I
Yeah.
see the different people that you interview. I'm like, wow, man, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
And you know what? This is the thing. You can't pitch the show. It really is El Michelle Smith and Friends.
Hmm.
And I've had people say, well, when are you going to run out of people? I'm like, when do I ever stop meeting them? Like,
Right,
and these
right,
are people that become genuine friends.
right,
So,
right.
and
Interesting
that's part of the
people who have
brand.
stories.
The
You
woman with
know.
the Rolodex is really what's, kind of driving the show,
Uh,
and it really is awesome because you get to see the tribe in full effect because the
right.
people who are on this show really believe in my brand.
Hmm.
And they
Hmm.
show up like
Support you.
this guy right back here and his wife.
Right.
Yeah, so
Who's that? Who's that? I can't see.
see, and this is your next thing. You and Nikki got to write a book.
She's working on her one woman show now. Her book for a woman. Oh, that's right.
Yes, it's
That's
Old
right.
School Love with Reverend Justine Simmons.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes.
who that is.
That's a great story, man.
And you'll see in the acknowledgments, I tell the story of why Reverend. I didn't point to it like this, but he's behind me. The people who were behind me, they had something to do with what's going on in my life right now. And
Right.
he and his manager, when I was out speaking and I was still at the big company, his manager heard me speak and he went and told Rev what a great job I did. And Rev said, help her however you can. And so
Wow.
Michael Lehman has been working with me, every
Wow.
chance he
That's
can.
great.
And when I told him I wanted to write a book, he got me meetings. I was like flying back and forth going to HarperCollins.
Yeah, I remember you came to New York a couple times. You're like, I'm
Yes.
here. I'm here. I'm leaving in like an hour. I'm like, what are you talking about? I
Yeah.
just came in here to talk about my book. I'm gone, though. I'll see you next time. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
all
Well,
right,
and
all
there's
right.
a twist to that story because I didn't sign with HarperCollins. I still got the book out, and I'm
Mhm.
still going to be, well, I can't talk about that part, but that being said, if it wasn't for Michael and Rev Run, I wouldn't have been like solidly on the road to getting a book published.
That's great.
Isn't
That's
that
just
amazing?
relationships. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's relationships.
Yeah.
And that's people believing in you.
Yeah. And
You
that's
know?
good people too, because everybody doesn't
Hmm.
have to do anything for anybody.
Right.
So,
I always say, what is it worth, to you just to make a phone call for someone? It's not, you're not losing anything. You're
no
not
skin off your
losing
teeth.
anything.
If you
And
believe in the
it's,
person, why not?
yeah, yeah. If you want to see that person win, do it. If you
Yeah.
want to see that person, and if you don't want to see that person win, stop answering their calls.
Yes.
You know, stop
Exactly.
returning their text messages.
Don't be
Stop
fake
wasting
about
people's
it.
time.
Exactly.
Stop
Exactly.
wasting people's time. Just tell them, hey man, we can't work together.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna work out. It's just
Yeah.
like you dating.
Same thing.
I
Don't
can't
ghost
deal
them.
with you.
Just say something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take. It's not a lot of effort. Just get it done.
I agree. Jamie, where could everybody follow you online?
They can find. First of all, you can follow the radio station. Yeah,
See?
you follow the radio. It's 108 Soul, 108soul.com, and the media, social media handles is 108 Soul NY. So that's the radio station, and for me, it's comedian Jamie, Jamie, and
Awesome.
JamieRoberts.com.
And he will keep
So
you fun. He will keep you laughing because he's funny.
thank you, yeah, thank
He's
you so much.
funny.
Hey, I got a real question for you.
Yeah.
Your kids are homeschool, right?
My one daughter, yes,
I'm sorry, your daughter's homeschool because of the pandemic,
because of
right?
the pandemic.
Are you doing any school shopping? Are you doing any school
Look,
shopping? Are
I
you going
needed to. Here was
clothes
the
shopping?
problem. Let me tell you what the problem was. So
She's
much
grown.
was canceled for Joan. Joni and I usually take 2 trips to Disney. We go to LA,
Hmm.
we go to all of that was canceled. Somewhere in between there, we usually go to Florida to some beach. We usually get in a swimming pool somewhere. She didn't get all that. Number two, she came from a private school. Now she's at a public school, but she's still having to work from home. And she was
Mm,
so excited about not having to wear uniforms. So
right.
mama went on and bought her school clothes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm buying my kids just tops, no bottoms, because they don't. It's new shirts. That's what they do. We ain't doing all
That's
that. What do you
perfect.
pajama bottoms? We're not
Yes,
doing
I
that.
mean,
Come on.
hey, why? Because they don't see you but from here
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But I tell you, Joni's teachers do scavenger hunts and have them running all over the place. I love it because it keeps them involved. It keeps them
Hmm.
moving. But yeah, to a large extent, all you really need is from the waist up.
Right. Right. And one of the things I do is like when we get on Zoom calls, I always say, all right, before we start this call, how about everyone just stand up
Just
and
stand up and
stretch?
stretch. Breathe in, breathe
And
out.
breathe out. Yeah. Oh, you ain't got no pants on. Oh, you thought you was coming in this meeting butt
Oh,
naked.
that's
You
so
know?
funny. Oh my
Stand
goodness.
up and stretch.
Everybody, Jamie Roberts from New York City, by way of
Appreciate you.
South Carolina today.
No, no, yeah, I'm in South Carolina right now, but yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you
Uh,
coming on. We got to do it again soon. Next time, bring on Nikki.
will do. Will do.
All right. You have a good day. Bye.
Bye.